seeing as we're playing an elf build, it's probably quite good to keep the Toxic Deluge to subdue the elven forces. The elves are coming after all. No turn 1 elf. That's quite interesting. Normally we see something like that and then a turn 2 Marwyn, but that's actually kind of nuts. I guess we'll play the Elvish Mystic then. No turn 1 or turn 2 play is very weird. Very weird indeed. Especially for, you know, a deck that cares about elves coming in all the time. Maybe they're back there just keeping them back. So here she comes. Okay, so we've got the Fatal Push online. That's good. So we keep 4 mana up. We can go for BMC plus Fatal Push. Take care of the Marwyn. Is that too aggressive for our opponent? If they stay, that's good. We want to see some interesting stuff. I think I'm actually going to use the Flare here. Because we have the Eerie Ultimatum, I'm actually not too worried about losing a few things. We're going to get them back anyway. Let's get... We need triple black, so let's get white and black. Because I think if we resolve the Betor, they might struggle to deal with it. Because the 5 toughness, and you know, they don't have any other creatures at the minute to help fight. Eladamri, Corvidal. And I think by losing life with the BMC, that's just going to be able to just help us reanimate the Elvish Mystic anyway, so that's good. I think we just go for all the modes here. And the 5 toughness is going to be really wonderful. The fact we lost 6 life is kind of crazy. Maybe we should have used a fetch and then surveilled something else. Because maybe we could have... Imagine we got a Sun Titan into the graveyard. That would be game over, I think. The only way they can really deal with us now is really giving us off Death Touch. And then fighting. But yeah, this is why I love this deck so much. Because we've got so many things that make our life go down. Which seems like a detriment. But as I said with Betor, it becomes a humongous advantage. Tap 2 creatures and they can play a card from their hand or the top of the library, which is pretty scary. Sithis. So I think we're just going to use the Deluge, which means we attack with those 2. And then we're going to put Deluge at X equals 3. Because we definitely want to kill these 2, because these just absolutely spam the field. And then I guess we can just start playing Sithis and Beanstalk, which gives us just even more cards there. They can only do this during their turn. Deluge. Ooh. They give their guy +2/+2 and reach untap for 1 mana. Not gonna lie, that's pretty damn good. Wow, okay. Okay, fair enough. We go for Sithis. And the Campbell, I think. And then we go for Nick. I don't know, because I'm not too worried about losing anything, because we can just get stuff back. 3 counters on the Campbell. And then revive. So 5/6 Campbell, he's now bigger than the dragon. Which is kind of nuts. It's a lot of toughness. District Guide. Search for basic or gate. Put it in your hand. That's not very good. Let's lose 3 again. So we're down to 10, which is a little bit risky, but Wrath of God. Depends how scary this Eladamri is going to be. I'm actually really tempted to do that. Again, because we have the ultimatum. But what else are they going to do? You know, their whole deck is probably going to be something like, oh, we want to cheat in Eldrazi, right? Or do we just let them cheat something in? That could be scary. Tap 2 untapped creatures. I'm just going to blow up the field. And nope, we'll leave him in the graveyard. I know that's a really crazy move, guys. But honestly, I've seen what people do by cheating in one creature, and I can just literally lose the game, especially if it's the bloody dinosaur that lets you play any number of creatures from your hand. So let's just draw a card. We've got so much mana. Mythos. Crazy. Oh my god. That is a lot of stuff. Kill the Marwyn. And there we have it. So the cyclical nature of Abzan there really proving to be quite unstoppable. Again, I mean, to be fair, that was a mono green deck, but so is Pock. And so is Azusa. So I'm just saying, you know, sometimes you can get lucky and get ahead, but don't be too scared of losing stuff, because there are a lot of ways to bring them back with Betor or, you know, Ultimatum. Yeah, it's definitely a fun way to just try and use different subsets of cards that you might not normally. Welcome to the channel. Today we're looking at Betor Ancestor's Voice one more time, because I wanted to make it more in line with what I have in Paper Commander. And that's a super interesting Enchantress build. So Enchantress basically means you've got loads of ways to trigger whenever you play enchantments. And the main culprits to include within that kind of deck will be Enchantress's Presence, Citizen Champion, Satyr Enchanter, and Sithis. These are all just incredible things that just gain you cards, basically, whenever you play enchantments. And it keeps the cards flowing onward and upward. There's another one as well, Elvish Archivist, which I think literally 99% of people do not even know or care about, but it lets you also get the trigger once per turn. Still good to draw a card, but if an artifact comes in, you put 2 counters on it, so it's still decent. So the deck essentially uses a hell of a lot of your favorite awesome, powerful enchantments, like we've already seen, like the Presence here, and it just doesn't end. You know, Eidolon Blossoms, another one that people probably forgot about, because there's just some really random cards that have been put into this game. Doom Foretold is really interesting. We have so many permanents, and we can make our opponents discard, sacrifice so many just by passing to our opponent, letting them sack, pass it back. Binding the Old Gods is fantastic. ECD, Overlord, Cruelty of Gix, and then the 7 mana side of the Virtue of Presence. And then whenever anything dies, you can then reanimate it with the Sun Titan. And there's a lot of really great targets for Sun Titan here in our 3-drop slots. Even things like Camel, just to stop control, because this deck is weirdly Hellq. I'm not 100% sure why it is Hellq. A lot of people think that doesn't exist, but take it from me, there is a noticeable spike in power level when you play this deck. You know, I've played a lot of decks, and I can definitely feel when there's a disturbance in the force. But yeah, it could be any number of things. I mean, we're using some risky things as well. Dark Tutelage, which is basically Dark Confidant on an enchantment. There's not really much more else to say. You know, reveal top card on your upkeep, you lose life equal to that, and put it in your hand. You also have Dark Star Augur, which is the bat version of Bob, and he can also bring a friend. And this is kind of nuts. Power creep, 4 mana, you get basically 2 Bobs. I don't actually have Dark Confidant in the deck because it's a mythic, and I didn't have the wild card. So if you do want to donate and help the channel, please just check out my Patreon. It helps me unlock some more wild cards, which sometimes I do struggle to make new commands and stuff, so it really helps. As you can see, I don't have any mythics left, but 581 commons, which is just not helpful. But yeah, the deck is very fun, and it's a lot more in line with my Paper Commander deck, which I really enjoy, because it follows a Venn diagram with 3 really cool circles. You've got enchantments that gain you life, like Sithis, enchantments that lose you life, like Black Market Connections, and then just things that trigger from those enchantments. So again, it's pretty fun. It's quite technical, and it's got a really interesting commander because the whole point is you want to gain and lose life and then resurrect stuff. It's probably not the most optimal build, but this isn't about being super optimal. This is about being interesting. This is a enchantment Betor build, which I don't think people immediately go to when they think of Betor. Probably more Reanimator and getting Eldrazi out of the grave turn 2, 3, 4, which is entirely possible with cards like Reanimate. So yeah, think upon that. I think this is a really fun build, and I hope you enjoy it. Right, not the perfect hand, but if we can get some of these things off, it's going to be very nice. So we'll start with the Wooded Foothills. And yeah, whatever they play, I guess, what 2-drop, we can try and counter it. Robe of Stars with the nice artwork. White. White green. Let's get rid of that. Because it that can really protect a creature. Beyond belief, because when you phase a creature out, you don't just phase it out, you phase out all equipments and auras and anything modified to it. So yeah, now we can just start drawing cards with the Elvish Archivist. I do want double white, but I do want the black as well. I think we just go for the presence for now. And then subsequent enchantments will draw us 2. Anakanarud, okay. We do have Feed the Swarm. So we'll probably use that to kill the Kirin. Because that is going to be frustrating anyway. Are they just going to leave mana up? Stoneforge Mystic. Oh my god, that's a terrifying card as well. Are they going to get Sword of Feast and Famine? We missed. So I just guess we'll go for that. Missing a land drop is quite annoying, to be fair. It's not going as planned because we missed a land drop, but yeah, I guess Doom Foretold is still good. So they can pay 2 to put equipment into play. Okay. So play the Doom Foretold, draw 2 cards, they lose one of their guys, which is nice because they're both synergized with each other really far too much, especially given how much this with the 2 swords would be kind of nuts, to be honest. And I will eat up the halfling here because I'd rather just have the mana on the field. It's too risky. Although there's something to be said there about maybe keeping that for the Doom Foretold. They could have actually responded to that by paying 2 to put the equipment into play, but I suppose they can still do that anyway for 5. Double the number of 2 swords is pretty rough. Oh my god, it's going to be 8s coming in. Jeez. I think we're just dead then, aren't we? Because they're going to untap all their lands twice as well. Oh, that's a shame. We just didn't have the removal for the Arna Kanarud. Halvar. Damn it. I guess we'll get rid of the... It's not going to make a difference. Protection from green. Yeah, that's a shame. Night's Whisper. Well, there's not much else we can do. Yeah, we're doomed. That is just so powerful, being able to double the swords there. That's very, very scary. Yeah, I'm not really sure if we really had a way to get... And it didn't really take much, did it? Basically, play the commander, and then equip it, and then we're dead. From pretty much 2 attacks. Just trying to think if there was another way around this. I'm just not sure there was. We only had Feed the Swarm, and then we did have the Doom Foretold, but this was kind of like an opponent's choice spell, which never really works out well. But yeah, we can play the Sithis now, but it won't make a difference because they're going to attack in for 10 flying. Oh well, that is just... It's actually a really scary command that you don't see very often, so at least it's something different. I just want to take a quick 5 minutes to talk about the other Betor, Kin to All, which is something that I feel was quite exciting when it got spoiled. This is the standard version of Betor, and it rewards you for having lots of toughness. So 10 toughness, you draw a card, total amongst all your creatures. If your total toughness among creatures is 20, untap each creature you control on the end step. Then if you have total toughness 40 or greater, each opponent loses half their life rounded up. Firstly, I think it's exciting, but secondly, sadly, it's just too slow. Having 40 toughness is just never going to happen in Magic. 1v1, 2-player, 3-player, 4-player, it's just not going to happen. It's definitely a big trap, and I don't think I've seen more than one person use this because of that reason. And the rewards are just not great. 10 toughness to draw a card. So it's this and another card, right? Because this has got 7 toughness. So another thing with 3 toughness. Draw a card. That seems okay. 20 toughness to untap your creatures. Now you're basically saying you want the deck to go in 2 directions. Big toughness and also tap abilities or more aggressive attacking. But then you've got 7 toughness, which is a defensive kind of pound toughness. And then 40 toughness. You don't even win the game or anything. It's just each opponent loses half their life running up, which I feel like it's never going to kill anyone, ever, really, unless they have 1 life. So it's something that I think it's good for the fun of the game, but it's definitely a bit of a trap because it just lures you into this sense of security where you think, oh, I can definitely pull that off. But yeah, it's a stark contrast between the Commander one, which I think is far better, but then, the Commander ones almost always are. I also think it's got better artwork. It's still got hoops to jump through, so I appreciate that. But, the fact that this has got lifelink as well, it's just so versatile, being able to gain some life back and just buff other things and reanimate things. It's really cool. And I think Betor is also cool, but yeah, I would be wary of crafting this. If you only have 1 mythic, definitely go for Ancestor's Voice. Let's go! Ripples of Undeath is just amazing. Going against Evora, which is an uncommon vampire warrior that looks like a goblin. When it enters and deals damage, create blood. Everything's a freaking Titan now, isn't it? I don't know if I like that step forward in Magic. So if you don't know what I call them Titan abilities, basically whenever something enters or attacks, the original 5 Titans, Sun Titan, Grave Titan, they all had this, right? Now, like every card, every legend seems to have this stapled on. And it feels like maybe it's a bit too good. And for a 2-mana commander, this is kind of ludicrous. It's just so many words. But yes, it does die to everything. I think that's part of the issue as well. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, where they knowingly make cards so OP at lower CMCs now. Because the removal is so good, I think they basically dug their own graves. Because removal is, 1 mana, kill. Like Fatal Push actually was one of the first ever cards that really felt like it was, pardon the pun, pushing the boundaries of removal, because it could kill any lowly thing like a Mana Dork. But when it was in Standard at the time, you used to be able to kill cards like Kalatas with this, which was really important because people would run that. And all you had to do was just crack a fetch land, Revolt, and it's such a good ability now. They've made it even better with Devoid, I feel. We do have 2 wipes, so we maybe didn't have to do the Nightmare here, but I'm seeing a lot of... I don't know if I can account this game to it. There's just a lot of immaturity lately with... I guess it's just this infinite number of annoying players, right? I just make a move and the opponent pauses and does nothing. It's just really sad. I just wish we could all, progress as a group effort. But I'm going to speak in very vague terms here, but I feel like there's always people holding humanity back. And I know that's such a vague term, but it's just like if people just were on the ball and just played ball with each other and just got on, just think how much smoother everything would be. You know, I think there was a study. I don't know where it was, but it was just like everyone had the same car, and they drove around a roundabout, and they did the test for like a few hours, and every driver was told to drive at the same speed. And for the first few minutes, it worked perfectly. Everyone was going at the same speed. But just like, I guess it's like entropy, where an entropic state, it just wants to get to like the most basest granular level. So obviously, you can imagine what's going to happen. Suddenly, a few of the cars sped up and a few of the cars slowed down. And just that small, even minuscule change made such a huge ripple effect. And that roundabout is basically just kind of allegory for, if people just worked together and did as intended. It's not even a case of people disobeying or obeying orders, it's a case of just human nature. And some things are just unavoidable, right? Like if you have something like disability, or if you're tired and you have slow reflexes, you could attribute those to the people slowing down the cars. But in terms of, if you translate that to kind of people who play Magic, I just think I can't attribute that to this game, because I feel like all the negative stuff only ever happens when your opponent's losing, which means it's just dick behavior. Which is sad. Just look at the slowdown. Every single thing I play.
Happy to help, but I'm taking the credit when we win.
You could argue that it's because my opponent is new to the game, but I find that hard to be true. There's just a lot of trademark cards and hallmark cards of things people do and things people use that I just look at a glance and I can tell there's not a new player. Most new players do not use uncommon commanders. A lot of the new, recently franchised players are very much drawn to the mythics and rares, which are the cool, the awesome cards of the set, and also the fact they've got full art lands, and the fact that they've got Nick Fuss has very, very compelling evidence to tell me that this is not a new player. The fact they didn't play anything means they have a... Do they have a way to... Yeah, so they're going to basically discard and draw a card with the blood token, and they're going to madness in one of these things, which is kind of crazy, because they're going to have a 4/4 Trampler. But at the same time, we have the Liliana here. So by upticking, we're basically saying they get an instant speed creature into play, right? But they also have the mana to do that anyway. So I suppose if they have the mana to do it anyway, then we might as well do it. And I'm going to keep 2 board wipes here because I feel like they are going to spam the field. And somewhat annoyingly, they've actually bypassed the Smothering Tithe, because normally they would have to use this. So maybe there was merit in not doing the Liliana there, because then we would have actually got a treasure out of it. So there's a lot of mind games here, really making me think, which is not normal against most opponents. Normally because I'm dead. There's no time if they can't think if I'm dead. Or there's rarely games that I record in which it feels like a game of chess, which is quite a shame, because they are definitely the most compelling games to watch. So the mono red, if we play Betor and we have 5 toughness, we have a pretty good chance of survival, I suppose, but... Oh, I think we will pay to get the virtue, because I want to kill the evil, because they played it for a reason. And I always say this, but if somebody plays something, then it's worth killing. Because otherwise, why would they have played that, right? most people psychologically want to set up an ABC play. So an A play is normally just, play a thing and that's that. An AB play, this doesn't look like it does anything right, and that's because there's definitely some kind of synergistic thing they want to do with it. ABC play would be some kind of combo. But yeah, they had two other decent options to play, and they could have done it at instant speed with the blood. So my suspicions were aroused, essentially. Why did they play this out? And sometimes when you don't know the answer to why somebody did something, killing it is actually the correct answer, because the unknown information, or the known unknowns in their hand, would suggest that it's something that is going to be very beneficial to them. I just didn't anticipate this episode to be so psychological. But maybe people are here for that, so. No. Uh, 4-1. Will they trade? Yeah, I'm really not sure what to think about this. Maybe playing the Betor is a bad idea. I'm getting a bit lost and confused in my own head here. So at the beginning of the first main phase, you mill. Then you pay one. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I just lost it for a moment there. Okay. So are they going to pay the tithe? I feel like they're very, 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 very resistant to giving me any amount of treasures here, which is something that I rarely see. And normally when I see an opposing something tithe, part of me just gives up and dies because I just feel like so demoralized. Because most decks want to draw because you've got 100 cards, you need to sift through them, right? But this player is adamant to not to give me a single extra mana. And I had a guy down like, yeah, okay. Just pretty annoying. I think we will block now because we're getting to the point where I'm just going to have to use Wrath of God. But also, they're really, really, really playing around the board ripes. Okay. Jesus. And again, this goes back to the first part of the conversation in which I said people just seem to be taking so long on each of these moves, and it doesn't really feel like the length of time equates more powerful move. But I mean, I can probably read. It's a madness deck. How can they interact with this trigger? That's what I don't understand. Wait, how many land drops have we actually missed as well? Seems like a lot. Because we've milled them all. Taking 4 a turn is really rough as well. What am I doing? We can't add white. Let's just wipe. This is going to kill us if we don't do anything. Which is embarrassing because it's a bloody uncommon. Okay. Months of 2. So, to spite me from literally 2 mana, 1 treasure, they decided to not activate the blood in my turn. That's literally... They played unoptimally there to do that, which is pretty intense. they could have actually had a 3-3 out. So, I mean, I shouldn't be complaining, but they knew that they couldn't have done the same thing. So they're doing that here again because they have the 2 mana open. That is actually nuts. Wait, so they did that to discard a Blood Moon? I'm so confused right now. So to flip this, we get to discover as well. Okay. Oh, this is an absolute draw and a half, isn't it? Every single trigger of ripples. The opponent looks at it with some kind of, I don't know. Okay, so the Urgent Necropsy could be pretty good, but we'd lose 3 life to do that. Maybe we just get... I don't blooming know. Okay, we'll just play the Enchanter here. But I do like having this. I do not like having 10 life. What an odd game. They could have absolutely wrecked us with this Blood Moon. With 3 non-basic lands. So my suspicion is they're trying to basically finish us off with some glorious finishing move. But as for what it is, I have no idea. Have they given? Tell me in the chat. Have they ever given me a single treasure with this yet? Maybe one, if I recall. But I'm struggling to remember if that was in my head or if it was real. I'm just bemused by this Blood Moon. They should have just played this. Right, okay. Just like clockwork, guys. Just like clockwork. Oh, and the Winter Moon comes out. Fantastic. But they have 4. They choose to not play it. Well, we do have the Necropsy, to be fair. Discard your hand, draw 3 cards. Okay. Do we block this? I think we will preserve life. I know that's crazy. But what if we get something good with the ripples? It becomes less likely we can play this. They know we have the Urgent Necropsy in hand as well, because it's got an eye symbol above it. Tutelage. I don't think we'll be playing this anytime soon. And again, here we go with the pausing on the Ripples of Undeath, which is, you know, why are they doing that? I don't understand. It's if it was like a black X deck, I would actually understand that. But it's not. Because, at least with a black deck, right, they might be thinking about, I don't know, interacting with the graveyard in some way. But you can't even interact with the 3 cards you pick, because this card says mill 3, and then you pay 1 and 3 life to get one of those back. But because all that's included in the ability, you cannot interrupt with any singular part of the chain in that. So let's say they wanted to exile one of the cards I chose, right? They would have to respond before or after this spell resolved. So there's actually no way in hell they could stop me really getting a card of these 3 chosen, unless they had a state-based passive ability on the field, which did something like Leyline of the Void, which would say whenever an opponent discards a card, instead they exile it or whatever. So there is just no warranted reason why they would have to have priority pause on the Ripples of Undeath trigger. And it gets even weirder because they're not even doing anything else. Really. Well, they've selected the Bitter Reunion as a card they wanted to, cast. And then they took a while to play it. But yeah, I don't know. It's like going to a candy shop. You've chosen the sweet you want. And then you're like, I don't know. Maybe not this time. Bloody hell. Imagine taking this person to dinner. Where do you want to go? I don't really know. And then you just, hours and hours. And then they concede. What even was that game?